We are replacing our wood stove, so we're going to attempt to build a concrete stone hearth for the next wood stove, and it's going to go right in this area where the old one was. And you can see that there's a wire coming up through the floor that will be for the blower, and we'll be working around that. So this is what we're starting with. Now we've put a paper pattern down that shows the minimum size, so we're going to be covering this with plastic, and then we know we've got to at least cover this and maybe a little more so that we've got our installation done properly. I now have a 12-foot wide sheet of plastic rolled out. I'll cut this off and open that up so that we got plenty of space for concrete and mess not affecting the floor. I will also add that I am not a mason. I do from time to time play one here on the farm, so what I'm doing is just my attempt at this project. I'm not saying this is how you should do it, but I'll try to give you the info that is involved in this project so you can decide for yourself whether this is the way you'd want to do anything similar. Alright, we have the paper pattern covered with the plastic. It's opened up. The wire for the stove, for the fan, I have put a black tube around it so as to protect it from the concrete, and that's I can then slide the wire back down to get to the height that I need once the stove is in. The tools that I'm anticipating possibly using, I have off to the side here various floats, trowels, pointers, putty knives, some electrical wire that I used for scratch coating when I did some artificial stone on wall and so forth. And then of course the main ingredient is I've got a neighbor who's going to be coming over later and give me a hand with this. He's got more of an artistic eye and touch than I do. The concrete that we're using is just simply Quikrete. It's a 80-pound bag of concrete, and on the back of the bag, I know you won't be able to read it, but the directions for how much water to put in and coloring options are there. And so we'll be mixing the concrete one bag at a time by hand out here on the porch, and we'll see how that goes. I will say too that the plastic is 4 mil. Rather, that's going to be heavy enough. All I want is to protect it from being on the wood and the ceramic tile underneath. When we get all done, whatever is beyond the concrete hearth, I will try to trim off so that we can't see the plastic. But at some point, I have a tendency to change my mind later on, so this way the concrete will not be stuck to the floor. And also it would allow us to move it around a little bit if need be. I have made a screeding frame. I don't want this pad to have square edges, so that's why it's out beyond the pattern on the floor and paper. But this will give us a 1.5 inch surface to screed off from once we get concrete started. So actually, just point of information, one of these boards that I have here is from a steer feeder I built back in '93 and just took apart last year, saved the wood. And another board I think is from a lady's deck that I did some repair work on back in the 80s. So I try not to throw things out and reuse them until they're used up and become firewood or whatever. So anyway, we will get to this here in a moment. Okay, because concrete doesn't wait for anybody, we skipped a lot. There is 1x2 wire mesh in this, and we ended up not even using the screed boards. We made this a little thicker. We could get this done with 3 bags as opposed to 4, so thicker does not add any weight. It actually weighs then 3/4 of what it would if we used all 4 bags. So we're working on the color and trying to get the edging finished up so it looks like a stone and not like a nice round slab of concrete. Okay, we've worked on this about 3 hours. We've got it basically the way we want it. A couple of things As I said, we did not use the screed boards. We did not use 4 bags, we only used 3. And the coloring we did not mix with the concrete like you're supposed to. So we decided to sprinkle it on the surface and go with a blotchy look. And that's fine, but now will it hold up? Time will tell. But this is what our rock looks like. Alright, this is 2 days after this was poured. We had it covered with plastic, even though the directions said don't do that. And I think the colors have come out modeled the way I wanted it, rather than sharp lines. Looks natural rather than formed. It's not all nice and smooth and troweled and screeded and so forth. And that's what we got. Now all I have left is to trim the excess plastic off around the edge, and our wood stove is on order, so just have to wait for that to arrive. Alright, the excess plastic has been trimmed off, and that's our final look. And the coloring was done with this material here. Not sure if it's going to come into focus or not, but it's called Cement Color for Concrete and Mortar by True Tone. We use 3 colors: mocha, terracotta, and rust. Was supposed to mix it in with the concrete and then work the concrete, but we put it on the surface after the surface had been troweled to some extent and then troweled it in. I would recommend you get a different tool for each color so that you don't blend the colors any more than you want. You have a little more control over it. We also put in this acrylic grout additive number 869 from Tech. That was left over from an outdoor project, and just thought it would make the concrete a little bit harder. So that's the project. Now we'll just wait for the stove to show up. I have put 1 coat of sealer on this, and it appears to have brought out the colors a little bit darker, and it will have a glossy surface to it. So that's where we are after the first coat. I'll do another coat tomorrow. We have gone about three weeks since we did this. This is October 10th. Alright, today is October 13th. We have 2 coats of sealer on the stone. The new stove in its crate is in. 375 pounds of challenge, but thanks to my wife and science with a long ramp, we were able to get it up and in the house ourselves. So now the trick is to get it out of the crate and onto the hearth without digging up the concrete. So that's where a friend of mine will come in handy, I hope, tomorrow morning. Today is October 16th. The stove got connected yesterday. Have not done the electric. Obviously the cord's laying on the floor. That has to be run down through a hole in the stone, and then we'll have the fan available. But we are going to have a small burn today, cure the paint, finish the paint setting. It will smoke up the house, I guess. But this is basically what it looks like now that the stove is in place. And we haven't had a frost yet, so this has worked out good. So that's the project. Our first fire, it's a break-in fire, so we start small, heat the stove up gradually, let the paint get set good, and then we'll be set tomorrow to have a regular fire.